We are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports. We hope that you guys are making it a good one. We know that we are as well. Now, listen. Guys, can we pull that tweet up just so we have the evidence, the one I sent in the group? So, listen, there is some, I guess you will call it breaking news. Let me first off by saying I do not back this. This is not my tweet. This is not my sourcing. I am not condoning this. But as we were coming on to the show here tonight, Jack Sokoloff on Twitter says, breaking, Ole Miss head coach Lane Kiffin plans to step down as the Rebels coach Friday and head to Auburn to become the Tigers' next head coach, according to sources. Sources say the Tigers haven't officially offered the job to anyone yet, so Lane to Auburn is happening. Story is coming soon. Now, Pooh Bear, can you do me a favor and just click on his profile just really quickly? So just to let everybody know that we're not getting spoofed here, John is apparently with WCB News, a verified account on Twitter, the old-fashioned way, not Twitter Blue. Here's the thing. He's a sports director covering Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and high school sports, a Heisman voter, and an AP award-winning journalist. So let me just say this. I am not backing this claim. I am not saying it's true. But in the words of Lane Kiffin, if this has any merit whatsoever, the words, like I said, the words of Lane Kiffin, get your popcorn ready. So just something as the show is going on here tonight, keep your eyes out for, because there could be some big news. But nevertheless, this is a LSU show, and we will be talking a lot of LSU. Recap and preview after the film breakdown against UAB. What did we like? What did we not like? Some things that have to improve. There's some things that were just really flawless. The things that were flawless on Saturday night started at the quarterback position with Jaden Daniels. Texas A&M preview. I'm going to tell you something that the record does not reflect with them. You're going to say I'm dumb and an idiot, but I'm going to back it up with what's played out on the field. Why Texas A&M is really struggling, and Brian Kelly met with the media today and spoke about the same thing. I actually told you guys the same exact thing Saturday night, and really have been talking about this all year on the show. Brian Kelly was asked this today, so we'll talk about a little Texas A&M preview here tonight. Carter, the Power Bryant, joins us at 7:40. We'll recap the game. We'll look forward to Texas A&M. And also, we will maybe talk a little Thanksgiving, and if it is true that Lane Kiffin is going to Auburn, what that would be. And a massive SEC rewind this weekend. Tennessee got their cheeks clapped by South Carolina. Let me say this about Tennessee. I go on a show every Wednesday, the very well-known and renowned show, the Bill King Show, every Wednesday. He's over at WNSR. He's been probably the voice of college football for the last 20 years. I think that if any of you want to hear some drama, or not drama, or just things going on around the SEC, I do think that you need to be tuned in to WNSR tomorrow morning. I will retweet the clip or retweet their show in the morning. I think you're going to want to hear it. I think you're going to want to hear it. So a lot of interesting things. This is my favorite part of the year. This is my favorite time of the year. All chaos is breaking loose out here in these people's streets. All chaos is breaking out in these people's streets. So we'll see. Let's get to a couple comments before we get started. Thank you, Jason, for the stars via Facebook. Guys, you guys on Facebook are absolutely killing it for us on the show. Thank y'all so much. Thad Landry said Lane Kiffin is a goofball. He's probably eating a couple goofballs. I'm going to leave that one alone. Blaine Smith said, I said, are you ready? You know what? What made me think about this when he said, are you ready? I forgot to talk about how KJ Williams and LSU basketball dominated today, too. I left that out. Maybe we'll talk about it. Alex Ezel says, wow. Well, let's see what Ole Miss can get. Yeah, if that's true. I'm not saying it's true one way or the other. Guys, I'll be dead. I'll tell you what I know and what I don't know, and I don't know that. I don't know that. Stephen Fry, our good friends over at Fry Construction out there in Eunice, y'all give him a look up and a call today. He says, wait, or what the F is an Aggie anyway? Tigers by 100. Yeah, it's true. Dip says on YouTube, can we go undefeated in the West? I think we can and we will. I think we can and we will. Very interesting. Ryan on YouTube says, love the Bill King show with Blake segments. Bill King is fantastic, man. Bill King is absolutely fantastic. I will retweet that in the morning, his show. Dan says, Bill King, I used to listen to him every morning when I lived in North Carolina. He's fantastic. He's fantastic. Literally my biggest mentor, one of my greatest friends. I think y'all need to listen to that tomorrow morning. Chris English says, how many Tigers entered the portal, Blake? We'll get to that. Zach, remind me of this question as soon as we get out of the break. I'm not going to break any news here. I'm just going to give an opinion. Kenny on Facebook says, good win for the LSU men's basketball team today. KJ Williams dominated for LSU. That he did. I think I think that Matt McMahon, like, look, we're nobody's really paying attention to LSU men's basketball right now. I mean, it's football season, and so look, it's really. I'll just be holistically honest, and everybody makes fun of me when I say holistically. I saw your comments on Twitter, but it's really difficult to this time of year to cover both. I mean, guys, the game's tipped off at 10 a.m. You know, I mean, it's really difficult to cover both of them. So, but we're doing our best. Nikki Hughes on Facebook says, I always thought Kiffin was holding out for Saban to retire. Well, Nikki, I tell you what, it doesn't mean that he can't go to Bama. You know, I mean, there's Saban's going to die on that field. What's he going to do? Run his Mercedes-Benz duplexes? He's not. He, his wife won't let him retire. I mean, she's just as narcissistic as he is with his, cream pie eating. Roderick Duga. All right. We're not starting off Monday with this. We're not starting off. Not on Thanksgiving week. Roger Dugas says, Blake, how you like the AP jumping LSU this week? If you mean USC, I think it's typical. I think it's typical. Dane Bergeron sends $10 via Super Chat. He says, the First Light rain gear, I love this. Worked great Saturday at the game. I called them and told them about it. I am signed up for up to their pro staff. They're fantastic, Dane. I'm telling you. Thank you for turning me on to them. Dude, they're fantastic. I mean, there's a reason why I wear this hat. Number one, it's the most comfortable hat that they have. Number two, I don't promote this on the show. If you're a big fisherman, especially if you're a big hunter, I mean, I never really talk about it, and I'm not going to talk about it, but they got great stuff, man. They got great stuff. I mean, Dane, I got a jacket, a raincoat that it was raining here this morning. I mean, it served both purposes. I was warm and I didn't get any rain on me. So, I mean, their gear is fantastic. Yeah, let them know. Dane, let them know that we sent you on by. If you could let them know that AYS sent them on by, I greatly appreciate you doing that. Travis says, the word is Saban has a gambling problem. Travis. All that money would run out if he retires. That man ain't got no gambling problem. That would be out by now. That'd be out. I don't believe it. Thank you, Dane, for the super chat. All right, last one, then we'll get rolling. Adam Keene says, Kiffin is like the girl all the homies just pass around. All right. God dog it. Guys, we can't even make it 10 minutes through the show. Live on XM Radio and the TuneIn app, we can't even make it through the show. God bless it. God bless it. All right, let's get this thing rolling, y'all. Everybody do us a favor by hitting a like and share. So many of you are listening to us live right now on Facebook. Do us a favor by hitting the like and share. Share to all those Facebook groups. Share to your own social media pages. We greatly appreciate you doing that. If you're listening to us on YouTube, like, subscribe, notification bell. Boom, boom, boom. 3 easy steps. It takes you literally 2 seconds to do it. I mean, why aren't you hitting the like? Come on, man. Come on. If you're listening to us on the TuneIn app or XM Radio or wherever you listen to podcasts, rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. We greatly appreciate it. All right, Zach, let's get to our first break. We're going to hear from Jimbo Fisher in our first segment. What an idiot. Jimbo Fisher, we'll hear from him in just a second. But let's pay these bills. None better than our good friends over at betonline.ag and our good friends over at GM Vardo & Sons. GMVardoandSons.com, guys. We return in 1 minute. Got a lot of LSU stuff. It's Texas A&M Hate Week. It's Thanksgiving. Let's talk about it next. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag. With over 65 years of experience, nobody is better equipped to service in your vehicle than GM Vardo & Sons. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. If you break down the side of the road in the greater Baton Rouge area, they will come and get you. And the best thing about that is that they can come and get you, and then they can bring your vehicle back to their shop and start the repairs right then. Again, GM Vardo & Sons. Go see them over at 2500 Fuller Boulevard. Give them a call at 225-664-9992. 225-664-9992. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino sent you on by. All right, we just got a text message into the show from Ryan. Ryan asked, Blake, what are your shows going to look like this week? We'll go live, obviously, tonight and tomorrow. Wednesday night, the Ruffinos are coming over to my house. We're going to do some Thanksgiving. Obviously, Thursday's Thanksgiving. So I think we're going to be back Friday midday. I think me and Joe DeLeone are going to talk some SEC, and we'll obviously talk some LSU in between there as well. And then Saturday morning and then Saturday night. So we're going to adjust it for the holidays. So we got 2 big episodes this week upcoming. Chris English says, Blake, thank you, Zach, says, how many Tigers entered the portal this year? Listen, I'm gonna say this. I think that there's going to be a couple. Okay, I do think that there will be a couple of guys that for LSU that will enter the transfer portal at the end of the season. But here's the thing. Guys, they still got an SEC title to play for. And nobody is exempt from losing guys to the portal. Georgia lost guys to the portal last year. Obviously, you saw Jermaine Burton obviously go to Alabama. Alabama lost guys to the portal last year. It's going to come for you. But what I will tell you is LSU now, or if I'm not mistaken, sits at the 25 scholarship mark for high school recruits right now. Guys, in the past, they would be done with their recruiting class. Here's the thing. LSU still sits really good for Desmond Ricks. They still sit really well for Javian Taviano out of Texas. They're going to hit the portal. I've told you this before. I've told you this before, and I guess nobody really believes or listens, but Brian Kelly said it today without saying it. If you listen, and we literally spent 15 minutes on this in the last recruiting segment last week. They're going to hit the portal pretty hard, but they're going to be selective. Brian Kelly's quote today, and I don't even have to look at my notes. He said, and I agree with him holistically, is that the transfer portal can either make you or break you. It made Mel Tucker last year $100 million. but you have to bring in so for an example, I don't think Greg Brooks is going to be a first-round pick, right? Like the DB who came in. I don't think Joe Foucher's there, even though Pro Football Focus says that Joe Foucher's been the best safety since the Ole Miss game in their SEC ratings. My point is you have to have guys that want to be here, and why Brian Kelly talks so much about guys from Louisiana that are in the portal. I have heard of some guys that probably are going to go into the transfer portal from the state of Louisiana at other schools that want to come home, because there are really good players, and Brian Kelly's doing a really good job of this. 3-star guys that you see out there that maybe just has to take a little bit more time to develop, they're going out there and getting. You know, a lot of people would put Dylan Carpenter from Santa on that list. I don't think he's on that list personally, but some people think that he's on that list. The kid from the wide receiver from Texas, first name Kyle Parker. He's a 3-star kid. That young man has zero business being a 3-star. But you're able to take kids now that historically you wouldn't do. So Brian Kelly still wants to go heavy through the high school classes. But I promise you this, from what I know right now, and this could change because recruiting changes, they want to get at least 10 to 15 guys in the portal, 15 being the absolute max. They want to do everything they can to get to 85. And I promise you, an LSU team with 85 scholarship players on it is not just deadly, it's lethal. The rat poison that Nick Saban always talks about, it's becoming LSU. Now, he talks about that with the media. No, the real rat poison is the first weekend in November when you have to play LSU, because now you know that there's a competent human being at the helm. Zach, make a hype video and put that quote in there. Write the time down. Right, like, and even put this in here with me saying it. The rat poison that Nick needs to worry about is a little bit out more west in the boot, in the tip of the boot. His name's Brian Kelly. Anyway, that's my recruiting rant for the week. Richard says your audience is a bad influence. Very true. Very true. All right, let's get to some recap. I'll get to this one comment and then we'll get rolling. But Jesse Jackson, good googly moogly. Like, is that Freddy Krueger, guys, in the profile pic? I think it is. But he says, Blake, could this A&M game Emory goes off and not have a fumble? Guys, I've made my piece. I've said my piece on the John Emory fumbles situations and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, somebody in the comments Saturday said this really well. I am like Coach Herman Boone, and I forget the other coach's name and remember the Titans. Every time John Emory touches the ball, I'm like, hold on to that ball, Petey. Hold on to that ball, John. Guys, he's so athletic. You can't. So this is a good transition piece. Look, in this recap and against UAB, we're not going to spend 5-10 minutes on it at max. When I got the copy of the film, like the whole copy of the film, guys, I get that Jaden Daniels had a bad game against Arkansas. Brian Kelly said he had the flu. I told you I gave it Monday. I said, guys, I'm giving him a mulligan. There's things that are going to be coming out. Well, now you know. I mean, it was as obvious as the sky is blue that young man had something going on. I was highly impressed with Jaden Daniels in a very wet environment. There was no crowd, hardly at all, but a really wet environment, really cold. He went out there and had his best game as a Tiger, really. Didn't make any mistakes. The rain's coming down. He botches a snap and gets the ball to his running back. It's his running back's fault. He fumbled the football. But a really impressive game for Jaden Daniels. Highly impressive game. That's how good players respond. That's how good quarterbacks respond. Really and truthfully, the defense was kind of lackadaisical in the first half. They didn't really give up a whole lot, though. And I was told, and I'm sure this will come out in the LSU Gold piece, but at halftime, Matt House absolutely lit the defense alive. Okay? They didn't give up, but what, guys? They didn't give up another point. They didn't give up a point in the second half. So my point is, you did exactly what you needed to do. You were moving the ball at will. You shut them down defensively. That's what elite teams do. I'm going to start. So LSU, and if you watch this show enough, you know that I say this. There's elite teams. There's good teams. There's great teams. There's good teams. There's average teams. LSU's a great team right now in my tier. They're looking to be elite. What great and elite teams do is when you have a really bad game, you come out the next week and respond. You know whose teams seamlessly do this every single year? Nick Saban's. You can make the comparisons all you want, but it's true. Great coaching, elite coaching. When you have a bad game, whether win or lose, you're able to rally the troops to come back out the next week and fight. Blake, it's UAB. What in the hell did you expect? Well, guys, in the past, and I told you to flush it all week last week, this is not less anymore. Stop talking about it. This isn't Orgeron anymore. Stop talking about it. Because every time I get on Twitter, like I might get on Twitter at 9 and 11 or around lunch, and when I get off, when I get home and I start getting ready for the show, and we start getting in pre-production meetings. And every time I get on there, somebody's trying to compare Brian Kelly to Les Miles. Well, this was the most Les Miles thing we've ever seen. Guys, turn the fucking page. Elite coaches get teams ready to fire back. That's what you saw Saturday. Now, on the A&M, I don't think you have to worry about LSU looking forward to Georgia. Everybody and their mama's calling this a trap game. I've seen it out there. I've already started to see it. Texas A&M last week, a week ago today, a Texas A&M wide receiver, I forget the young man's name, said, well, look, we're just trying to piss and LSU's cornflakes. Well, bad news, brother. You shouldn't have done it. Because I'm going to tell you right now, as mad as Texas A&M makes me, as weird as their fan base is, as cultish as their fan base is, I'm telling you right now, the seniors on this team want more revenge. They want more revenge. They smell blood in the water. You can say this isn't a rivalry game, guys. Holistically, it's not. I know for an absolute fact, like report it, go to your message board, say, Ruffino said this, Tiger droppings will rip me alive. I promise you this for a fact. They smell blood in the water and they're coming. Pause. Actually, Pooh Bear, the all things pause material, no pause. They smell blood in the water. Here is one thing, though, and I want to get to this Jimbo Fisher clip in just a minute. Jimbo Fisher's – come on, man. I do want to say this, though. In watching A&M all season long, I've probably watched more A&M than really more than I care to admit. Because I still think that there's something there in reference to, guys, they still got a lot of talent. Now, does all that talent hit the transfer portal? Who knows? You're going to find out if those kids were really making all that money if they start hitting the transfer portal. A kid making $75,000 a year is not hitting the portal. We'll find out. But I will tell you this. Do I think LSU is going to lose? Not even close. Do I think it's a trap game? Not even close. Do I think that there's a lot of worry that needs to go into this game? Yeah, you're playing an SEC opponent. There's always got to be a slight bit of worry. I will tell you this. Pop on the film of their defense. Now, you can say, well, Blake, Florida put up 41. Blake, they got beat in areas here. What I will tell you is that they got some dudes defensively. You can make fun of Jacoby Matthews, Walter Nolan, whoever you want to. Guys, they are really athletic on defense. Their offense stinks. Now, if you want to see the biggest lie of all time, James Sales says, hashtag Blake is a closet Aggie. No, I'm not. But what I do know is offense and defensive line play, and I will tell you this, they have dudes. Whether you want to make fun of it or not, whether you want to joke about it or not, I promise you they have dudes up front. Offensively, not so much. They can be pushed around. And I really do believe, I really do believe that their offensive line is going to get dominated by LSU this week. Point being, though, on that defensive line, they have some serious talent. They do have some talent at DB. They do have some talent at linebacker. Is it enough to slow down LSU? No. It's not. But just to say they're 4-7, they're not any good, and I get it, and you're right. But how many games did you see? Guys, A&M took Alabama to the wire. Okay? They took Alabama to the wire, 24-20. It's not just as there's no game, and you can't even really make fun of Vandy anymore right now. There's no legitimate pushover. You got to take every SEC game legitimately like it's a real knockout dragout. Fans will tune this out all week because you probably got family coming in on Wednesday. There's probably family that's coming in already right now to your house or to your parents' house or whatever it may be. And you won't think about it because you'll sit there and you'll talk to your uncles about it. You talk to your cousins about it. Yeah, LSU's going to – Blake Ruffino told me that LSU's going to clap them Aggie cheeks. And you'd be right. My point is that you also need to talk about how they're got a pretty damn good front seven. Everybody's counting them out. And I get it. And I'm with you. I am with you. Just pay attention. All right. Couple comments, and then we'll get some more things in here. I do want to play this Jimbo Fisher clip, but I want to get to some of your comments, though. I got to give Lamar Williams this big pressure in the building. He did say all year, and I got to give him this, after Tennessee, and I said it wasn't going to happen. So I if you're an active listener and I tell you I don't believe what you're saying is going to be true, and you prove me wrong, we'll bring this up. Pressure Williams, Lamar Williams says 10-2, let's go. He's been saying it since the Tennessee loss. I'll give it to him. I didn't see it. Says their defense is young, but can be undisciplined. Very much so. And to LGZ's point here, 2 good plays, 3 bad ones. It's 2 steps forward. It's 3 steps forward, 4 steps back. They don't have anyone right now that I believe that's disciplined enough to contain and maintain what Jaden Daniels does. And I will be honest, I do believe that they're kind of wanting to get the fuck up out of there anyway. There is some part of it that I think a lot of these young guys want to get the hell up out of there. There is. All right, everybody hit the like and share. Share to all those Facebook groups. Share if you're on YouTube. There is about 233 of you in there and only 71 likes. David Mobley says Jacoby Matthews to LSU on deck. Maybe. We'll see. Shamichael Thompson says, I know for an absolute fact that Blake's favorite word is holistically. I go through trends of words that I like. I go through trends, but you're right now. Timothy Martin says, I think we make him the highest paid assistant coach in the country. He's not going to go anywhere until Park leaves. If you're talking about Matt House, so this is an interesting point. Matt House is a semifinalist for the Broyles Award, which goes to the top assistant in the country. I don't think I don't know this, but if you put 2 back-to-back seasons together, of what Matt House is doing, I don't know that there's not going to be a team knocking on Matt House's door. Brian Kelly mentioned this. I know Matt House has mentioned this himself. I don't think Matt House wants to leave right now. Now, Matt was offered a lot of DC jobs when he was at Kansas City. He turned them down because his family was rooted in Kansas. It had to be, or Missouri, whatever. Had to be the right fit. LSU was the right fit. His family's here. They like it here. We'll see. I will tell you, it does have a little bit of a Dave Aranda feel to it. So if you're going to compare it to something, it does feel that way. The Arandas, I know this for a fact, the Arandas loved Baton Rouge. His wife loved Baton Rouge. They still have a lot of friends here. A lot of friends here. So maybe maybe Dave still has some, unlucky success at Baylor, and Matt House goes and leaves and becomes a head coach somewhere, and Dave Aranda comes back. Yeah, baby. Yeah. Like my name is Austin Powers. That'd be something. All right, a couple more that I want to get to this Jimbo clip because I want to rip him alive. Dane Bergeron says, #AskBlake, got to watch out for A&M's 13th, 14th, and 15th men in striped shirts. Yeah, guys, there's not a weirder fan base in the country. There's not another weirder fan base in the country. There's just not. Give me a T! T! I mean, like they light torches and walk down the street with pitchforks. Like, guys, I come from a very country place. Like, when you come into town and you roll your window down, banjos start playing. The Devil Went Down to Georgia starts playing. There's so many, I'm telling you, there is nothing more redneck, redneck than College Station, Texas. There just isn't. It is the most redneck hillbilly town I've ever been to. Like, I'll never forget the first time I went to College Station. I was listening to some A&M fans talk, and they were like, "Hey, Billy, can you give me that beer from over yonder?" And I look at my buddy. We're just standing there, and we're both from the same place. I'm like, where the fuck is over yonder at? I mean, is there like a portion of over yonder? Over yonder. No, Chris. And Chris is from the same place I am. No, Franklin's not. I'm telling you. It's not the biggest thing. All right, guys. I do want to get on Jimbo here. What's funny is sometimes when you say things, they can come back to bite you in the ass. They really can. Jimbo Fisher, about a year ago, was asked if he was going to LSU. And now that he's 4-7 and Brian Kelly and LSU's coming to town, this clip is really funny because some things you just can't take back. Guys, can we play that Jimbo Fisher clip right quick?
Told everybody I plan on being the coach at A&M. All right. And everybody thinks all coaches lie. I know y'all don't believe us, all right? That's why we don't trust y'all, okay? So we're even, okay? Whatever we say, nothing's off the record, okay? It's off the record. No, it ain't off the record. You didn't say that, all right? But I'm joking. But we're going to recruit maybe as good a class. Here's the bet. Because I said the other things. I plan on being, I love the AD, I love the president, I love the chancellor, I love living here, I love being at my ranch, I love the family loves it here, I love Kyle Field, I love the people, I love all that stuff, and that's obviously not good enough, and I get it. I'm not mad at you. Oh, I'm sorry, seriously. I read the reports and people come to me. I say, I don't want to hear. I'm not interested. We may recruit, number one, we're going to recruit an unbelievable class this year, okay? So I'm either the dumbest human being on God's earth, okay, who's going to recruit all these guys to A&M so I can go across over here and go play against them, okay? If I did that, you ought to say, that's the dumbest human being. I don't want him to be my coach, okay? Guys, we're going to recruit a heck of a class. We're going to have special things here. We're building special things. They're investing in the program. They're investing in everything we got. We're building a culture. We're not where we are, and that was a disappointing thing about Saturday for me.
Well, you're the dumbest human being alive then. You're the dumbest human being alive. Jimbo, this is LSU, baby. Just because you want to be close to your ranch, just because all this kind of other stuff, I get it. You're right. You had the best recruiting class money could buy. but you couldn't get the one player that meant the most to it in Harold Perkins. So I'm just going to tell you, this doesn't just come from players. When you make comments like that, you better be able to back that ass up like it's from the 99 to the 2000s. You mean to tell me Scott Woodward hadn't gone to Brian Kelly's office? Hey, Brian, you got a minute? Yeah, Scott, I got a minute. So listen, this is Scott. So listen, I don't know if you know, but I was the athletic director at Texas A&M and hired Jimbo Fisher. Yeah, Scott, I know. Can you kick their Rudy Poo ass this week? Say less. And they dap up. That's all you got to say. Or they might not even say that. They might just got to look at each other. And Brian Kelly knows. He knows. Run it up. Here's the thing. Run it up. I'm serious. Let me say this too. LSU does need some style points too, guys. Don't be surprised if Jayden Daniels is in. If you're up big, and I'm not talking about Trump big, huge. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like if you're up big, I wouldn't be surprised if Jayden Daniels stayed in the game. Guys, LSU needs some style points to get in this playoff. They're going to have to take it to Texas A&M because even though I think LSU deserves to be the number 5 team in the country, hell, I got to be completely with you here. I even think LSU deserves to be 4. Well, maybe not deserves, but should be the 4th team above TCU. I still think TCU stinks. I still don't think they've really played anybody. Oh, well, Blake, they beat Baylor last week. Come on. Stop it. Stop. Blake, they had to go to a field goal to beat Baylor. Stop it. You're going to need some style points because as we'll go around the SEC with Carter Bryant here in about 2 minutes and talk some LSU, if the Georgia team that showed up this past weekend shows up, the one against Missouri shows up, you can win. You can win. So you need some style points. You need some help. You need some help. You need TCU to lose. You need USC to lose. And how ironic would it be? Guys, how ironic would it be if this week Notre Dame beat USC and LSU ran the table and Notre Dame was a team that helped LSU get into the playoff? How ironic would that be? Okay. Let's get to a couple comments and then we'll get to Carter the Power. Tony says, is Fruity Drinks here yet? No, it looks like he's walking to his car. So as soon as he gets to his car, he's behind a light. I can't really see him that well. We'll get to him. Jared Addison says, north of Hammond over into Livingston is pretty damn country. I'm actually in Albany is where our studio is. You're right. Let me tell you this. I see more people. Think about this for a minute. I see more people in Livingston than I do total teeth. Especially at a gas station. Guy came up to me the other day and said, sir, can you give me some money for food? Going to the gas station, okay? And I said, well, look, man, they got food in here. I'm not going to give you money, but I'll go buy you some food. Whatever you want, I'll come in here and get it for you. He says, fuck you, man. Fuck you. And I'm like, well, I thought you're hungry. I'm about to buy you some food. And he's like, I wanted money. I'm like, no, you wanted dope. So if you want food, I'll give you food. But don't, you're the one begging for me for money. Jerk. All right. Let's get to a break here. We got Carter the Power coming up. Let's talk some LSU. Let's talk some SEC. But first, I can't find this, guys. I have no idea what it is. Here it is. But first, let me get to my good friends over at Synergy Resources, Synergy Resources, LLC. Go to their website, synergyresllc.net. hoses, pipes, fittings. They have it all. Again, that's Synergy, RESLLC.net. Call my buddy Tolly today or shoot him an email and let him know that Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by. All right, let's get to Carter, the Power Bryant. Let's talk about our good friend Carol Falls over at State Farm. Guys, he's lowering rates faster. Never mind. I was going to say faster than Jimbo loses games this year, but it's true. Let's talk about our good friend Carol. Carter the Power next. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Falls and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Falls has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements. First off, is it raining?
No, there's just a fountain. There's a huge fountain right here.
Okay, well, listen. At the end of this segment, go take a quarter, toss it in that thing, and say LSU's beating Georgia. Do it, Carter. Don't leave a wishing well without us winning the SEC. Do you hear me?
I'm just worried about beating Texas A&M. I saw a commenter in your chat talking about how A&M's like the top thing now. We want to beat Texas A&M. Let's do this Saturday, Blake. We got to make Texas 4-7, go to Texas 4-8.
Well, I think we're going to do that, but let's talk about that. Look, I guess we can recap just a very quick second on UAB. The biggest storyline coming out of that game is not really Noah Cain or the defense. It's Jaden Daniels. He played absolutely exceptional this past Saturday. In your film breakdown, what did you see from JD5 that made him so good?
Well, first thing is you got to shout out Mike Denbrock. He brought in some of the Lane Kiffin concepts. We talked about that in our film study, Blake. If people want to see it, they can go to the YouTube channel or they can go to my Twitter account. I cut the little play that they actually took from Lane Kiffin that he actually ran versus Kentucky. And, I mean, there was just a lot of good things to give Jaden some good throws. But honestly, Blake, it comes down to the players more than the coaches. You know this. I know this. The ball Jaden threw to Malik Neighbors on the first drive was a thing of beauty. And I don't think people quite understand how difficult of a throw that was. They tried to run a little stop and go action. You see that little stop and go action right there? And the DB didn't bite on it. So it took a perfect throw from Jaden. So there's two different layers.
Jaden Daniels could throw perfect balls?
He could throw a perfect ball. And the best throw that he has in his arsenal, Blake, are go routes, right? That's always been the best throw he had going back to his true freshman year at Arizona State. And that ball had to be placed where it needed to be placed for it to be completed. But it's not necessarily the throw itself, Blake. The bigger thing was that Jaden actually decided to rip it. And you give Brian Kelly and the staff a lot of credit for actually telling Jaden Daniels, just rip the son of a gun. So they did a better job of giving him some easier layup throws, especially on the second and third drives of the game. But on the first drive, Jaden was absolutely magnificent. And I know what everyone's going to say. Well, it's just UAB. But the thing is, the throw to Malik Neighbors would have been completed against a lot of defensive backs because it was a perfectly thrown pass. So if Jaden continues that, Blake, we could be cooking with grease, baby. Let's go.
I agree. I thought that it was the best. It's crazy, Carter, because he had the flu. He came off his worst game against Arkansas, but then turns right around and has his best game, in my opinion, against UAB. Holistically, the stats aren't there from a touchdown perspective, but overall, I think it was his best game. Carter the Power Bryant joining us. Carter, let's turn to Texas 4-8. Turn your camera just a little. There we go. All right. So Texas 4-8 or 4-7, whatever we want to call them. Carter, I said this earlier in the show. I want to get your opinion. I still think they got a lot of talent in their front seven defensively. They're just really undisciplined and young. When you've seen Texas A&M this season, what have you seen?
Yeah, same thing, Blake. I mean, defensively, overall, they've been okay. But look, this is a one-win SEC team, and their one win was one of the flukiest wins I've ever seen in the SEC versus Arkansas. So, I mean, this team is very undisciplined. This team is very unimaginative offensively. And Jimbo, his offensive scheme, this is something that you and I talked about on this channel before the season began. And, you know, I got a lot of messages about this, Blake, going into the year that it was just sour grapes towards Texas A&M. But the issue is Jimbo was just so stuck in his ways. He had to be the one to call the plays. It wasn't his offense. It was the players running it. And
Sounds familiar.
Right. And look, that's what a lot of coaches fail to do. And you know what's funny, Blake? You talk about, you know, what the great coaches do, the coaches that are older in age, a coach like Brian Kelly who's in his 60s, a coach like Nick Saban in his 70s. Those guys have been willing to change, right? Those guys are modern in a lot of the different things that they do. And you saw what happened to Jimbo Fisher. You saw what happened to Les Miles, Ed Orgeron, and a few others. They would just get so stuck into different ways. And look, Ed Orgeron, the biggest decision he ever made was moving LSU's offense into a more modern offense. And the coaches that are willing to change are the ones that keep their jobs, win national championships, win their divisions. And the ones that don't, even if they have all the recruited talent in the world, they're not able to actually get the job done. So, you know, for me, when I look at Texas 4-8, hopefully on Saturday, that's the biggest thing, Blake. Now, they still do have a lot of talent. They
Agreed.
Still have a bunch of five-star guys. It was very interesting, especially for my South Louisianians out there, that Le'Veon Moss started getting a little bit more involved into what they do. So it's going to be an interesting game come Saturday. Lots of Louisiana flavor on the Texas A&M Aggie roster, and we'll see if LSU can get the job done.
And he's playing really well. Carter, let me ask you this. A couple more about LSU, and I want to get you because we do have some breaking news here. It looks like Lane Kiffin going to Auburn. Yeah. So let me ask you a couple more about LSU, and then let's get to that really quickly. Carter, I think LSU wins, but I think that they got to win with some style points. Look, I hate to say this, but I just want to be truthful. I think USC is going to overtake LSU and be number 5 in the country in the polls. But LSU's got to go out here this week and next week and win convincing games. Do you disagree or agree with that?
No, I agree. And look, I think it would help with style points. I do think there's also a piece of me, Blake, that no matter what LSU does, as long as they win the next 2 games, they'll find a way to squeeze them in there. I've been told that LSU gets in a 2-loss conference champion LSU would get in over an undefeated TCU. Now, that doesn't mean that that's actually going to happen. That doesn't mean I fully agree with that. But, you know, I think that there's a bigger possibility that no matter how LSU wins its next 2 games, they'll find a way to get in there. I also think something else, Blake, is you look at USC, you look at what they have left. Yeah, we could say what we want about Notre Dame. Notre Dame's turned into a good football team. And if they're able, USC, to win their Pac-12 championship, I think they are locked to get into the playoffs. So, yes, it would have helped out if our good buddy Dave Aranda would have actually closed the deal versus TCU. But that's not what happened. And hopefully LSU, they don't necessarily control their own destiny. But if I'm Brian Kelly, just stick with what you're doing, win these final 2 games, and hopefully the committee would put an SEC conference champion into the playoff.
All right, so we do have some really interesting things going on here. So there was a tweet earlier today, or just a minute ago, not earlier today, saying Lane Kiffin's leaving is going to resign on Friday and going to Auburn. Well, then Lane Kiffin, being Lane Kiffin, tweets out a book that says The Rivalry of the Egg Bowl, and it says doing late night reading. Carter, I have no idea what's going on here. I'm not going to pretend to. But look, you know, I'm going to let people in on a little bit of a secret. You know more about media than I do. I'm just a normal guy trying to make it in this world. I call you for a lot of this stuff. So, all right, well, here you go. Lane Kiffin just quote tweeted, says, "That's news to me, John. Nice sources." All right, well, never mind. Never mind. I mean, I guess that story's pretty much over then.
Yeah, let me put it this way, Blake. Lane, okay. So for those that don't know how Lane actually got to Ole Miss, it was heavily rumored that he was going to Arkansas. Heavily. I mean, there were some higher ups at Arkansas that thought this was a done deal. I started getting a lot of texts that Lane to Arkansas was going to happen. He ends up going to Ole Miss. So we know with Lane Kiffin and new coaching jobs, there's always going to be rumors. There's always going to be smoke. Out of anybody, I know you could say this about any coach, there is not a single coach that you don't know a gazillion % certain that what he's going to do is what he's going to do until you actually see him sign on the dotted line and he is sitting where he needs to sit at a press conference with Auburn colors. So out of anybody, understand that Lane Kiffin is a guy that loves to play these games. Now, what's going to happen? We'll see. I know you and I have heard different things. I've heard Ole Miss would be able to get the job done and keep him in Oxford because they do know he is the program there. Ole Miss doesn't have the high-end athletes. They don't have the most unlimited resources. They need a schematic genius like Lane Kiffin to out-scheme other oppositions and have different coaches run their stuff. But I just think Blake, I do think ultimately he will end up staying at Ole Miss, but we'll see what happens. And you honestly just don't know, and it's honestly all a guessing game at this point.
Tennessee getting absolutely housed by South Carolina. Carter, we texted a little bit about this, but I can't. I just think that listeners need to listen to the Bill King Show tomorrow morning, starting at 6 a.m. I'll leave it there. Carter, what was your thoughts about South Carolina beating Tennessee as bad as they did?
Blake, you and I talked about it privately, as you mentioned, and tomorrow morning I have a podcast episode on iTunes and Android and all that stuff releasing on Mike Jones, someone that you know pretty well. You haven't been able to play that audio in too long. So I know you have a relationship with Mike. I don't know him personally. I think we've interacted once on social media before. But what was interesting to me was Tennessee linebacker Jeremy Banks, who was a starter, a guy who's going to play in the NFL for a long time. He was a healthy scratch. Apparently there was a kerfuffle with Jeremy Banks and another team, Hendon Hooker.
Don't fight them hookers because there's always a gigolo around you. Heard me?
But the reason why I'm shouting out Mike Jones is he is the opposite of Jeremy Banks. He's a guy who has a lot of talent, and he's not playing a whole lot right now other than special teams, but all he's done is been a good teammate, and Jeremy Banks sabotaged his team. There's no other way to explain South Carolina putting 63 on you other than there being a massive distraction. When I was watching that game, Blake, watching the highlights from it, I just could not understand how Tim Banks, who for the most part had been a really good DC for Tennessee this year, we've seen their defense are really solid. Man, it just felt like that there was something missing. And for me, that's what the story of that game was. I mean, Tennessee scored enough points. They averaged their normal yard per play numbers. Their defense just fell apart. And here's the good thing as an LSU fan. You're not a Tennessee fan. You're not a team. All Tennessee had to do, Blake, all they had to do was beat South Carolina and beat Vanderbilt. And I know both of the games were on the road, but they could not get the job done. And we don't have to hear Tennessee fans
goes
anymore
to your point, though, Carter, of going on the road twice. A lot of teams lose that first game.
A lot of teams lose that first one, or they'll lose the second one. And you saw what happened to Georgia this past weekend, right? They were the first team since 2019 LSU to win back-to-back road games. It is hard. And I think one thing, Blake, and you're a former player, but a lot of, players will tell you this. You don't travel a whole lot in football. So I just got done. I'm a PA announcer for a college basketball team. That's what I was doing. That's why I'm
Can you give us some PA announcement voice? Say like Ruffino from 3. Can you do that?
No.
What happened here?
No, I'm right here. I actually do the 4-3. Every time someone makes it through, it's a 4-3. But no, college basketball is different, and all the other college sports are different because you travel a bunch, right? In football, you never travel, and the times you do travel.
Oh no, Carter, come back to us, Carter.
The times you do travel,
Who's calling you?
I don't know. But the times you do travel, you're walking into these cathedrals of 100,000 people, right? And it's hard. It's really hard to play on the road in college football. And we've seen it, right? And Tennessee saw it. South Carolina's got some of the best fans in the country, Blake. And you saw it. I mean, their atmosphere for a 6-3 team that doesn't really win anything is amazing. So shout out to the Gamecocks. Shout out to Shane Beamer, one of the best young coaches in the country. And
Ken Mallory says Carter got that trap phone. I don't know if Carter can hear us. I don't know if he can hear us, but. All right, Carter, we'll go ahead and let you go here. Tell everybody where they can catch all of your stuff.
Power Hour LSU, that's where you can find it, man. And I'm telling you, I'm so freaking happy about this team, Blake. They exceeded my expectations, and I give Brian Kelly all the credit in the world.
Hey, buddy, I hate to cut you short. We can't hear you really, okay, like at all. So, Power Hour LSU. We'll see you next week. There goes the audio. See you next week. See ya. All right, that's Carter the Power Bryant. Yes, we lost audio. All right, hold up. Wait a minute. Let us put some pimping in it. All right, not that. Zach, go back to that Lane Kiffin tweet, please. Go back to the Lane Kiffin tweet. Somebody said, Pooh Bear said he's out there searching for ranch waters. All right. So I told you to get your popcorn ready. So the earlier news from John Skolioff saying that Lane Kiffin was resigning on Friday and heading to Auburn. Lane Kiffin then quote tweets and says, "That's news to me, John. Nice sources." Guys, this is getting out of hand. It's getting out of hand, right? I mean, oh, good heavenly Christ alive, Jesus Almighty. I don't know what to make with Lane, man. I really don't. I really don't. That's unreal. It's unreal. Dude, I'm going to tell you, John's career is going to be over. I mean, you can't. I mean, that's just nice sources. That poor guy's going to get killed on Twitter. Not literally, but just on Twitter. Okay. Let's get to our last break, and then we'll close it out. I agree with this, but let me get to – I agree with Carter on what happened this weekend, but let me get to our good friends over at Granco, guys. Excuse me. Our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. We return in 1 minute. Close it out.
By the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Whether you've been injured in an accident, you're preparing for a future with your estate planning, you're getting ready to close in on a real estate deal, or you're about to welcome a new addition through adoption into your family, or you're facing criminal charges, you need very experienced attorneys, and that is what the Drake Williams Law Firm will be able to do for you in navigating the legal system. The door to their cozy office in historic downtown Ponchatoula has been open since 1981. They have helped thousands and thousands of Louisiana families and individuals win cases, close on real estate deals, and regain that peace of mind. Their lawyers over at the Drake Williams Law Firm, Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, are very determined, compassionate, and dedicated to their craft. It's the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by.
John Skolioff, the guy that just reported that news, guys, he just redacted it. He just redacted it. So, it's so bad. It's so heavenly bad. Listen, just to finish this and finish LSU and talk LSU and finish, guys, I think LSU is going to win massively because I'll see you tomorrow, but I won't see a lot this week. I think they win pretty handily. I think they just got to go to A&M. They got to go to College Station and take care of business. Looks like this will be the best weather that they've played in a while, which makes it a whole lot easier. But listen, there's going to be a fun weekend. Ole Miss. Well, yeah, you do got Ole Miss, Mississippi State. You got Ohio State and Michigan. So many great games this weekend that it's going to be fantastic. So we're looking forward to them all. I'm really going to be glued into Vandy, Tennessee. I think Tennessee might be in a little bit of trouble here. I really do believe that. Because if you're going to give up 63 to South Carolina, now that Hendon Hooker tore his ACL and you got Joe Milton, man, and Joe Milton has not been the best of quarterbacks in his college football history, maybe Vandy can pull it out. Just maybe they can pull it out. We'll see. All right, let's get out of here. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, knuckleheads and Girl Scouts, peace out.